Hey, Scott Trainer here, host of CNY Flavor, where we have a great show in store for you. So stay tuned, stick around, because we're going to cook some goulash, okay? Real quick, real easy, economical, on a shoestring budget right now. Okay, so we're ready to get started on our goulash, and basically the recipe calls for a pound of ground beef. Now, you've seen me before talk about ground beef, that it's easier if you buy it in the bulk. I happen to buy a 5-pound chub and just cut off a pound in each, and this is 1 pound of ground beef. Going to use a 1/4 cup of onions. We're going to slice that in just a second. Recipe calls for 3 cups of elbow macaroni. Now, I didn't have quite 3 cups, and what you do at home with pasta is if you have small shells, something similar, which I do, I added a 1/4 cup of the small shells to make it to the 3 cups. 2 cans of whole peel tomatoes, totaling 28 ounces. If you got 1 big can, that's great. Salt, pepper, little chili powder. Right here I'm using the hot Mexican style chili powder, just a 1/4 teaspoon of each of those. And we're ready to get started. First thing I'm going to do, because remember, everything is timing and cooking, you can get this whole thing done in about 30-35 minutes. And so I have some water boiling on the stove. I'm going to add my noodles, my elbow macaroni in small shells to it to cook that off al dente. Al dente is meaning hard, because I don't want to cook it all the way, because I'm going to cook off the remainder when it's in the mix with the ground beef and the onion, okay? So let's get the elbow macaroni started, and then I'm going to chop the onion to get a 1/4 cup, and we'll go over to the stove. Okay, so we've got the macaroni on. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get a 1/4 cup. Remember what I talked about, safety, knife safety, always cut away from you. Now, a 1/4 cup is really small, so I'm going to put this one in reserve over here. Take off the skin, and these ones here you're going to dice pretty fine, okay? Little guy won't move. And you're just going to come straight down, try to make them uniform so they'll cook together, okay? And then you're just going to chop them. Just chop them right up, because these are going to all cook with the ground beef. And here, get them real quick. Okay. Let's see if we can get a 1/4 cup out of this. Perfect. Okay. Looking at about a 1/4 cup here. A little more, doesn't matter, depending upon your taste. We're going to drop that right in the frying pan over here and get that going on a medium heat. And now we're ready to walk over to the stove here. We're going to put our ground beef in and cook this up real quick, okay?
Perfect Game Imaging strives to deliver sport action photography that renders images that without us, our clients and customers would normally not even see. I can't tell you how many viewers of our images have asked, "How did you get that shot?" Or, "I didn't even see that happen during the game." It is our mission to have our action shots hanging on the walls of the athletes' families' homes and offices as centerpieces to be cherished for a lifetime.
Yo, step into the fog and creeping through the smog. It's the #1 wiper from the hood, Scotty Dog. Making videos now, I stay in Hollywood. Busting rats from my snaps now, they call me Eastwood. Yeah, CNY Flavor. Go to the website, cnyflavor.com. Hey, welcome to Crazy Otto's Empire Diner. That's 100 West Albany Street right here in downtown Herkimer. You may remember me or notice me as the host at CNY Flavor. You can come on that website at cnyflavor.com and learn all about the cooking show that airs on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. But we're talking about Crazy Otto's Empire Diner right now. You know, a lot of times you see TV shows, you wonder if the cook, the chef is there, if he really actually cooks or he actually is in a restaurant. Well, I'm one of the guys that have been there, done that, and is still doing it. Right here, you can come in, you can see me cook. I'm here virtually every day. Here at Crazy Otto's, they don't call us crazy for nothing. Everything here is fresh and homemade. As you can see, we fresh slice our tomato. Everything's done fresh to order. Doing actually a BLT right now. This is Michael, also happens to be my son. Hey, all right. Hey, welcome to Crazy Otto's. Come on in, give us a try. You won't be disappointed. So we have our noodles just about done. We have our onions in the pan. You're going to take your 1 pound of ground beef and just break it up. Put it right in the frying pan. And this will start crumbling more too as you cook it and you start breaking it apart, okay? Just want to stir it around, get these onions in. Medium heat. Once this cooks and your ground beef is all cooked, small crumbles, then we're going to add the whole peel tomatoes, our spices, and then our noodles. Cook it off for 20 minutes, that's it, and you're done. Now this here will feed, depending upon how big of eaters you guys are, anywhere from 6, 8, 10 people. This recipe calls for 8 people, but just depending upon if you know you got the kids or you got a few adults in the family, it'll be proportioned accordingly. But for easy money, okay, on ingredients that are quick and easy, economical, you can feed 8 people comfortably with this recipe. See, the onions are frying up real nice. You can see that there. Ground beef frying up. Now I'm using an 80-20 mix on the ground beef. You can get it more fine or you can get the nice 27-73 mix, which is your fat content, okay? Depending upon the flavor that you like. If you don't like as much fat, use the 90-10, 95-5, 81-19. This is an 80-20. And just always remember when you're dealing with ground beef and you're looking at it in the store, don't necessarily look at the price, look at the fat content, okay? Because that's what's going to give you the flavor. A lot of this fat in here is what will give it a nice flavor added with your spices. So see, this is browning up and cooking real nice. Let me show that for the cameras there. You can see that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a cover on this just for a minute while I drain my noodles, okay? Now when you cook this too, okay, you don't have to kill it. Meaning you don't have to just cook it so it's like well done, well done. You can, even when you're cooking a goulash or a stroganoff, you don't have to kill the beef. You can leave some of the pink in there, not a lot, but some of the pink in there because it's still going to cook off with the other flavors. So here it is, so you can see, nice and brown. Onions are all in it, all good. I'm immediately going to take my whole peeled tomatoes and just dump them right in. Okay. Again, this is about 29 ounces. You get the cans 14.5 ounce or the 28, 29 ounce cans. Okay. So just throw these around in it. Half a teaspoon. Actually, I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon because you can always add afterwards, okay? 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. See, I always underspice things myself because being in the restaurant business for so long, you can always add spices to it, but you can't take it away, okay? So I'm going to take, that's a little too much there, 1/4 teaspoon. Mix this all in, get these spices all married to the ground beef and the onions. Okay. You can see this starting to thicken a little bit with the tomato juice from the whole peel tomatoes, from the fat from the ground beef, and it's really creating a very nice sauce. And one of the things too I want to show you, a lot of people will stick their nose over to smell it. Don't do that because the steam can actually burn your face. Take your hand and pull it this way. See, I can smell it because I'm taking all that stuff that's coming up and just right into my nostrils. It smells wonderful. Okay, so here we are. You got your whole peeled tomatoes in here, got your ground beef, everything's ready to go. And now I'm going to take the noodles and I'm just going to put the noodles right inside of it here. Mix them in a little bit. See, because all those juices are marrying in now with the macaroni. Okay, now you hear it boiling, right? I'm going to turn this down to a right below boil, nice low heat here. And I'm going to cover it. 20 minutes, you're done, ready to serve your family. I'll show you what it looks like when we come back.
My product is flawless every time.
Their quality and service is second to none.
What has most impressed me about them is their constant yearning to please the customer.
My favorite thing about Master Images is absolutely the customer service.
The main thing is the quality is excellent. I wouldn't go anywhere else.
Okay, so the goulash has been cooking for about 20 minutes now. Total process has been about 40 minutes, start to finish, okay? Feed's about 8, and we're ready to take it off the stove. Now, one thing I wanted to tell you real quick is always be careful when you're dealing with hot stuff. When I pull the top off, there's going to be steam that comes up. A lot of people get burned like that because it's very hot. So always when you're taking a lid off, take it away from you. See that steam come up? Okay. Now, if I did it the other way towards myself, all that steam would have come in my face and could have burned me. So you got to be real careful of that. So you got the goulash, it's all ready. Look at those stewed tomatoes. Oh my God, I wish you could smell this. Whole peel tomatoes on here. Look at that. I'm gonna put one right there so you can zoom in on that. And I can see the camera crew that's watching me do this. They're out there, there's a few of them there. They can't wait to try it. So here it is, goulash, start to finish. About 40 minutes, it'll feed 8 people comfortably. You got little kids, you can go up to 10 or 12 people. You got a whole thing here. And this is brought to you real easy, real ingredients, cooking on a shoestring budget. Enjoy. Hey, one of the things I want to talk about right now is knife sharpening. You can buy knife sharpeners. You've seen the past episodes where we interviewed Fleein down on Bleecker Street, where you can get restaurant supplies wholesale to you, the public. You know, there's other things that you can do too to sharpen the knives. Those are handheld ones where you hold the knife. And I ran across, believe it or not, in Rite Aid just the other day what was called a Samurai Pro, as seen on TV. And some of these things you see on TV, you just don't know, okay, whether they're going to work or not. And so I purchased it and I tried it on some of my knives in my restaurant. That's Crazy Otto's Empire Diner in Herkimer, and they worked. And so I brought it to the set here so that we could talk about that and just how easy it is to sharpen a knife, because knives are one of the most dangerous tools in the kitchen. If you're working with a dull knife, believe it or not, it'll cut you quicker and create a hazard more than a very sharp knife would. Okay, so that's all you do with this particular one. It's fully adjustable on the side. You just put it down. It does serrated knives. It'll do scissors, cutting shears, whatever you have. And you just place it on a nice surface, non-porous surface. And you just, it's sort of like a suction. You just suction it down so it keeps straight. And you take your knife, you adjust it here, and you just put a little pressure, not too much pressure, and you just slide it straight back. You do it about 3-4 times, okay? Put it at an angle and then go straight back. And your knife is sharp and ready to go. Now that there is the French knife. You got your boning knife, it's the same thing. Lay it down in 4 times. And this, believe it or not, is like a razor blade now. What it does is it takes the edges of the knife and it creates the little like pores, little teeth in it, and it makes it so that those edges are so sharp that you'll be able to slice through a tomato, fish, whatever you're cutting, vegetable wise, fish wise, or beef, and it'll make it cut right in. If you see me cleaning this right now, it's because I want to take off any of the burrs that are on the knife, because you don't want to immediately after you sharpen a knife go into it and cut a piece of beef or something, because you might get some of those little tiny micro slivers inside your product. So there it is, a quick tip brought to you by CNY Flavor on how to just basically sharpen a knife real quick, real easy, right here. Thanks. Hey, Scott Trainer here, host of CNY Flavor. We have a great little segment in store for you. I have the privilege and the honor to be sitting with Renee Basile, who's the owner of the Black Cat Bar and Grill, which is also a restaurant.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that, and they think, bar and grill, and they don't understand the quality of the food and the things that you're doing here. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to let you know, though, it is in downtown Utica, French Road. I know it's not downtown, but a lot of people get a little misconception on what it is. Right off the arterial, French Road, across from Chenantries,
Yes.
a couple hundred yards from Home Depot. So let's get going. We'll talk about that in a second.
Is this who you'd call if you need a mechanic? Is this who you'd call if you need a babysitter? No Sheep Designs is the right call for your business when you need professional, affordable web development, photography, or video production. With a decade of experience, we have the knowledge and passion to bring your project to life for much less than you'd expect. Visit nosheepdesigns.com today to see how we can help you.
I know that when I did the intro, I said downtown Utica, but it's really South Utica.
Correct.
See, I just look at Utica as Utica, and it's real easy, accessible, right across from Chenantries.
It's those cats. When you're heading 12 north, you always look down, you see all these cats on that building, and you're like, I wonder what that is. It's a restaurant.
Yeah, I've been by here probably 100 times, and you see the Train Hobby Shop, and I've been to Chenantries, and I always wondered, the connotations that people get. Is it a strip club? Is it a bar? What is it? And really, it's a restaurant. It's a full-service restaurant.
Yes, it's a full-service restaurant. We're open 11 a.m. Monday through Saturday. We have a full menu. We just added on some new dinner items. A lot of great sandwiches, appetizers, something for everybody. We have Lebanese food, we have Italian, we have a little bit of Mexican. So we're very diverse in our food.
And American food.
And American food. Our
Yes.
burgers are very, very popular.
Okay. Now, you can basically service anybody that comes in here in any taste that they want. I noticed that by looking at your menu, and that's why I was asking you, like, what's your theme? Well, this is like old Utica used to be.
It's old Utica, what we call comfort food.
Okay.
We have sausage and peppers and potatoes. We do a pasta and peas in the winter more often. Pasta fazool. We do fried bologna, which not a lot of people even know what that is. But then we also have your traditional chicken briggies, chicken marsala, appetizers. We have hummus. We have goat cheese bruschetta. We just added on a 3-cheese stuffed portobello mushroom.
Wow.
So if you come in, and if you can't find it on the menu, we'll make it for you because we never say no.
Okay, now all your stuff is fresh. It's homemade.
Correct.
Okay, I noticed on the menu your husband, Chris, it's his grandmother's recipes.
Yes, yes. There's a few recipes in there. It is Basile's restaurant, which was down in East Utica for several years. Very popular restaurant that his grandmother had, I believe, 20-some years. So you mentioned that name, and a lot of people go right to the old Albany and Kossuth Basile's.
Wow. And so your experience, your husband's experience is multiple decades
Yes.
in the restaurant business.
Hate to say that, but yes.
Well, I didn't want to date ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, your desserts are homemade. I noticed that. You got the Toll House pies and different pies that you actually make yourself.
We do a carrot cake that actually my night chef does, and there's no nuts in it because a lot of people can't do carrot cake because they're allergic to nuts.
Right.
So people love it. I mean, that's our newest dessert. But we do an apple crisp, traditional brownie sundae, and the Toll House pie that's a pretty good seller also.
Okay, it all looks wonderful.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to go in the kitchen and check out the chef and
Yeah.
their work, and
Yeah.
they definitely know what they're doing. Now, you mentioned your hours, okay? You're closed Sunday,
Correct.
okay?
Correct.
In today's modern technology, you know, with the kids and everything, a lot of stuff is Facebook and Twitter and you do have a Facebook?
Yes, we do have a Facebook page. We're working on a website, and we do to-goes. We have a catering menu. So in the website, that'll all be on there, so you can reach us and you'll see what we have, what's available.
I want to call, I want to try your food. I don't really have time to come in and sit down for half an hour, but I want it to go. What's the phone number that I call?
Area code 315-724-4444. We made the number simple.
I know that being an owner, I'm an owner-operator myself, we get to eat a lot of leftovers.
Yeah.
What is your customer's favorite dish? Because I've looked at your menu. You have so much to choose from. It's just a curiosity of mine that what is your customer's
I'd
favorite?
probably say the Basile steak sandwich. We cut a fresh tenderloin and season the vegetables, and people come in and they're just like, I'm wishing for the steak sandwich. It's almost like a pregnant woman with pickles.
Okay.
They want, they come in the door and they know that's what they're going to get.
Explain that to me, because I know that you do it a little different because you're doing the tenderloin. You're not just using like an inside top round or
Yeah.
anything for beef. You're actually using a tenderloin, which is a very expensive cut of meat.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then you're doing your vegetables fresh, sautéed.
Correct.
Tell me
Yep.
how you do it.
Sautéed fresh onions, peppers, and mushrooms, and we saute them in a secret sauce. I can't tell you what it is.
Okay.
And on the bread, we put garlic butter with mozzarella, and we bake it just till it's just nice and crunchy. And then we'll cook the steak however you want it. We'll do it rare. We don't have a problem with that. And build the sandwich. And it comes with our seasoned garlic fries.
Wow, sounds good.
Yeah.
Really does
Yeah.
sound good. Now, I have a daughter, okay, all my children, I have 5 children and 4 grandchildren and another grandchild on the way, and it seems that all my kids are born either on holidays or around holidays. I have one daughter who's actually born on Halloween. And I noticed, being the black cat, I noticed that there's a sign up there that says Queen of Halloween, and I understand you're the Queen of Halloween?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Depends who you ask. We just do, my birthday also is October 29th, so I'm close to Halloween. I always celebrated Halloween birthdays. And we just have a big Halloween party because the black cat, I have a black cat, and that's kind of who I named the restaurant after. And our Halloween party is huge. You walk in and there's not a bare spot on the wall. That's how much we decorate. And we just have a crazy fun party.
Well, I see you have a lot of pictures over there.
We have a lot of pictures. We do first, second, third prize, and as years have gone on, more people have come.
So,
And
why did you name it the Black Cat? Tell me that story.
because of my cat, I love my cat. And a friend of mine, we couldn't figure out what to name it. So we decided to, she said to me, someone named a Labrador up in New Hampshire after their Labrador. And why don't you name it after the black cat? And I'm like, good, that's a good idea. I'll name it after Ralphie, which was my cat.
Now, Renee, one of the things we haven't really talked about is your bar, because of the name Black Cat Bar and Grill. Even though it's really a restaurant, it's like the old pub, you can get full service on everything.
Yep.
But you do have a full bar.
I do. We have full liquor license. We do a happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 7. We have seating outside. We have a patio, or we have seating in front that you're also able to go have a glass of wine, sit outside, have a cold beer. And my bartenders, my staff is great. Everybody knows my bartenders.
Well, I heard that Jamie has a really good reputation with Jell-O shots.
Yes, Jamie is the queen of Jell-O shots, whether it's the Halloween party, golf tournaments, birthday parties, she does the Jell-O shots.
In your staff, you've been here 6 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you've had some staff with you right along from the beginning. And
Yep. They've been here. They know, they have the regulars. People walk in the door, they acknowledge them. They say hi, they leave, they say thanks, have a nice day. Whether it's Jamie or April yelling from across the bar, they do that because I want people to feel like you're coming into my house and you're going to be comfortable, and that's how you're going to be treated.
And Chris, your husband, he's a part of this too.
Yes.
Even though he works full time too,
Yes.
he still comes in and helps out.
Yep, he's kind of where he's needed.
Right.
If he's needed to help clean or bus tables or do dish, he's there. Or he does PR work at the bar after a few cocktails.
That sounds like my wife, because that's that's what my wife does. Is there anything that you'd like to say to the viewing audience that's watching this now that they may not have known about you or heard about the Black Cat?
I feel like, without being arrogant, that if you come in and give us a try and try our food, that you'll be back. Okay. We really tried for the consistency of the food, for the service. I mean, there's so many places that you don't get good service. The people, they don't even talk to you. My staff chats with you. They know if your dog was in the, at the vet. They know if somebody passed away. I mean, they're just very, very congenial to all the guests that come in.
That's one of the things that we at CNY Flavor really focus on, is the local mom and pop organizations, okay? Not the big chains that, like you said, they don't get the customer service, they don't get that quality. They get the consistency sometimes, but you're getting what you pay for too.
Right, they don't care. I feel like that. And I worked for TGI Fridays for years. I mean, that's where I learned a lot of my skills. But I don't think it's the small town. I always say I got to get this right, we have a big city feel with small town service.
Okay. Well, Renee, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
It's been great to be able to sit here and talk with you and see your establishment. And I love the menu. I love the food that you have on there. And I tell you, you'll like it too. Come in and give it a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.